Hello again. I'm back. We were doing something. I was doing the reset for the snake. So what I did is when it's reset, we start here. I just put all the segments on top of the body, which is obviously not something we want to happen. But the physics engine mostly resolves this. I think I've seen it get messed up once. So maybe this is not a super smart idea. I suppose we could just spawn them in a circle around the head. It's not too tricky. We'll do a new vector 2, which is body position x plus math cos and then some arbitrary radius, like 2. I think that's correct. Oh, it's used up here. That's I didn't know that was a thing in C#, but apparently it is. That's not that's not the way I meant for it to go. Go hinge enabled false. Let's see what actually is happening here. Oh, I think I know. It's this thing. That'll give us the full circle. I really don't understand why they're in a giant pile like that. Let's increase the radius quite a bit. They're all bunched up over here. Possible loss of fraction. Right, because I need to cast inside of there. That might be why it's being stupid. Yeah, there we go. I don't know if you can see them, but they're all around here. That's something. Make this relative to the body, position Y, and then do a radius of like 4 instead. Probably shrink that down to be 2. Again, the physics engine is just immediately going to like override this. I'm not entirely sure that I understand what's going on. Oh, it's the sideways velocity thing, I think. Lower the radius a little bit more. Maybe even some more still, like 0.6. And then we can also do a angle offset, which is going to be a bit twitchy and weird, but all in all, pretty good. I suppose we can also make the radius go like that. It'll be a little bit smoother. Now it's spawning in like the inverse configuration that I want it to. Do I want to make the effort to flip that around? I think I do. Actually, no, it's fine. It's fine. Let's leave it like that. Save, version control. Oh, and we also need to pick like a random position though, I realized just now. So maybe I'll do it anyway. So if we do it the other way around, and we do a center, which is going to be a new vector 2. And we center everything on that instead. And then finally we go body position is, I don't know what segment would be. It's not available outside of the loop. See what this ends up being. Turn off the hinges again. It's a little bit hard to tell what's going on here. So let's say we have a radius of 1 and another 1. That's what I want to do, I think. Yeah, and then we'll make it smaller again. I think I may need to have this a little bit bigger. And then there are so many things to tweak with this. This is kind of what I'm going for. Let's try that with the hinges, and we'll see. It actually makes it more prone to self-intersecting. That's unfortunate. I wonder why that is. This looks like it could work. But it all depends if the physics engine can like untangle this after the fact. Like, it's not super great when a boat spawns on top of that, but it does seem to actually work. Let's see if I can get one with a boat inside of it. Wow, that's a lot of boats. Let's not do that many boats. That seems fine. Even that, where it kind of looked like it was... Yeah, here we go. That's not good. But it worked itself out. I guess that's a good thing about using circles for most things. It's kind of... the physics engine has a fairly easy time of working out how to separate them. So I'm pretty happy with that, other than the snake looking a little bit bad when it's like resetting itself. I don't know if I can get away with using a slightly smaller value here and still have it work out. If not, I'll just go back to what I had before this. I think it's also because the head is so heavy, it's started kind of pulling the snake apart a little bit. But that seems to be working pretty well. Just slightly increase it to like 0.7. That's probably perfect. Uh-oh, what was that all about? Was that when I started the first time? Yeah. Oh, it's because of that boat that is perfectly in the center of everything. It's not because of the boat that is perfectly in the center of everything. Interesting. What is different about this as compared to... What if we do invoke starts? No name there. Oh, I get it. It's because it's being restarted multiple times. Because on start, this is restarted, and that restarts the player, and then it kind of restarts itself. So it's happening like 2 or 3 times, basically instantly. So we just get rid of that. It's fine. That's good. And then maybe we can put our boat friend back to the center of the world and still have it work. Seems like we can. Good. I don't really agree with the way this diff is visualized, but whatever. You can't see it anyway, so disregard. Resetting snake positions. Hello, Patrol 220. Welcome to the chat. We are approaching lunchtime in my particular time zone, which is going to mean that I will take a little break, but we can probably squeeze one more thing in before that. Maybe some water. Let's just add a quad. Should I do? Let's do a quad. Doesn't matter for now. Probably make that be the same size as the level automatically, but we'll all in due time. It is not going to be a child of the boat, that is for sure. We want to maybe slightly move it down. So this is already, I should just move over to using actual geometry for the boat, because this is not the way I want it to be. Because now the boat is going to have a straight intersection with the water always, which is not ideal. So this is water. And I suppose we'll have to just accept the fact that most of what we will be seeing at any point in time is this water. Kind of like that, maybe. I wonder. Someone's following me, in a good sense. CSGO training. Gonna be so good at Counter-Strike after this. It's gonna need some water effects, I think. to make this really fly. Dunk. It is surprisingly hard to kind of wrap yourself around a boat, because the boats are kind of struggling to get away. Once you get it though, it's nice. Well, yeah, that's water. RX Lim is having opinions about lunchtime. I'm a firm believer in that lunchtime is at noon. Always. That is important to me. This water is not really doing it for me. I guess we need to think about terrain as well. Let's make a little island thing. We'll do this. You can see what I'm doing. I just made an island object here. And we'll give it a physics, whatever. Actually, no, let's give it a, let's do it this way. Look at that beautiful island. Add a physics to the circle collider. And through the magic of configuration, these are obviously not the same size. Well, they were. That's good. Create material island material or something like that. We'll just make these like brown. I don't know, some color. Pink is a color. I need to do something about the shaders as well, because I don't like this smooth shading that we have going on. So this should just work with the physics. The turning radius when you're going fast is not good. I'm gonna add that to the to-do list. Turning radius when accelerating. Accelerating is kind of hard to spell word. So if I make a bunch of these. They're not an easy way to just duplicate something. Suppose that is a method. We have this little barrier going, which is something. You can just get a feel for it at least. You can actually do this with those pink circles. This looks a lot like Nobi Nobi Boy. That sea fighting on the snake is definitely something I'm going to need to deal with. So I probably need to have this, set this to have really low friction, which is something I can do. Island, physics, material, friction, 0. This is when I realized I should have made this island a prefab. Here we go. Such good level design right here. That makes it a lot slidier when you're colliding with it, so you don't really get stuck at all, unless you like find a little corner to go into. So that's all well and good. I think that's, I mean, it looks like ass, but works. Let's add this to version control. Water and islands. Wonder if I can do something about the turning before lunch. So what I probably need is 2 different modes, one for when you're accelerating and one for when you're just driving along. Because the turning when you are not accelerating is pretty fast. Like this is plenty fast enough. But if you accelerate as well, you get this really big turning radius. And it kind of spirals in to become smaller. But if I crank the steering power up, a little bit more nimble. It also makes it slightly awkward to steer because it turns so quickly. See if I can ensnare a boat. Turned a little bit too quickly, actually. Set it to like, it was 5 before, so we set it to 7 maybe. So I'm thinking we'll make a like a little booster thing that is like public float steer power boost. Just have that be 1 right now, and then we will steer power. Wonder I could. There are two ways of doing this. I could make it dependent on the speed of the head, which is probably smarter. I'll get and then we can do and I'll just print out the velocity now. Just see what the values are. If you're going really fast, it's like 3, 4 maybe. Yeah. Actually, before I get too much into this, I should probably look at limiting the velocity. Switch you over so you can see what I'm doing. I think we're going to do a little like maximum velocity thing first. So we'll do a public float maximum velocity, and that can be like, let's say that's 4. Actually, let's make it 2. And we probably want to get all the force stuff out of the way first. Then we go if So now this checks if the velocity is exceeding the maximum velocity. If it does, we get the velocity vector, and then we flip it around, so it's pointing the other way, which is like slowing us down. Then we can do something like body. So this gives us a value of how much we were exceeding the max speed. And then we can apply a force, body add force. I think this we don't really need to. Never mind. So we're gonna add the force that is brake velocity, and we also want to normalize this. Brake velocity, that should be brake vector instead. See what that does. Sorry about having to turn the sound off. I was talking to my colleague, or office mate, rather. I should probably be printing the velocity again. Body velocity magnitude. Lots and lots of variables to keep track of. So now nothing much is really happening. I can accelerate up to like 3, 4, something like that. Set the maximum velocity to 1. See what happens. Nothing really. If I set the brake force up really high, we got something. It is slowing me down. It's a little bit weird to do it like this, because the forces work both ways. Like if it's like the whole snake is like a train or whatever. It's pulling the end parts along with it. So if I accelerate the head a ton, because the head is so much heavier than the body, it's like twice the weight of the body altogether. It's not affected a ton by the body, but it is affected. So you can see it's kind of bending, like scrunching up, but that is also because I exaggerated this force quite a bit. So now even if I set the maximum velocity. Even if it's at the maximum velocity to be a fairly low value, we can still exceed that. But I guess this is also because it's not scaled to the mass of the object, like this force that I'm applying. So I should probably take that into account as well. Which it won't actually change much. The math is still the same. It's just that if I ever change the mass of the head, which is not entirely unlikely that I will, that might break the maximum force stuff, and I don't want that. Because it's like the physics stuff is all this interacting, really complex system already. And the less interacting and complex I can make it, the easier of a time I'm going to have. It's noon now. I'm hungry, but I'm waiting for Nicholas so we can have lunch and talk about the sound. I think I'm going to render this braking force. Do this actually. I can see. That's probably going to be a really long line. Yeah, now you can see the really long line extending from the head. Because it's trying to slow me down. I think this will help me make the controls a little bit snappier, because all the segments of the snake want to move forward only. So once the snake is straight, it goes much faster. Which is like, I made it that way. It's just a consequence of the way it's all put together. But this allows me to probably increase the steering power without having it get super fast and weird. And I still might want to do it with the have it be variable depending on how fast you're going. But my little test case here is trying to ensnare a boat. And if I can't do that, the steering is not. But no, I think I'm going to have to make it variable depending on the speed of the snake. So I half started this maximum steer power accelerating boost, and this is probably not used anywhere. Is that correct? Yes. Gonna do something like this will give us a number between 0 and 1 if how fast we are going relative to our maximum velocity. And we know we can exceed the maximum velocity. So this is kind of like power steering, sort of, on a car, where depending on, that's not like power steering at all, never mind. Anyway, we have the speed we're going at, so now we can adjust the I'm going to try something. Steer point offset. So this is going to be, if it is going slow, so I want it to be the other way around. No, I don't. If it's going fast, I want it to be a higher number. So this will, if you remember from yesterday, the little, like the snake head is like this, and there's a point where the force is applied. Originally, the steering force was applied at the center of the snake head, and now I've extended that point forward slightly. I'm going to do that even more when I'm using the power steering now. So now it's twice as far ahead when I'm going fast. That's a little bit too much. I can't even remember what I named it. Here we go, 0.2. That's something. One thing you can't really do is you can't really go maximum speed all the time, because that makes your snake a little bit hard to control, which is fine. I guess it depends on the way I want it to feel. I would perhaps like it to be slightly easier to ensnare a boat. I think it's what's happening is that once it starts turning, it's kind of a little bit too aggressive. If I lower this to 0.15, And I raise this up to be a full. That makes it pinch less. Because one of the problems I'm having is that if I turn max, it will, like if you're going fast, it turns almost nothing. But as you're slowing down, it really makes an aggressive turn. So this actually improved things. It's going to be easier to encircle things if your turning radius is a little bit more reliable. Probably crank this up a little bit. Like say it's 0.02 instead. Then that's maybe a little bit too much. I'm going to go back to 0.15. Now, what if I set that to 2 instead? One good little trick when you're doing game designy stuff and tweaking values is don't get caught just doing like 10% adjustments, because it's going to be really hard to tell if it's an improvement or not. Like it's just different. So try like double or set the value to half of what it used to be, or like 10 times what it used to be. Do big adjustments, because that makes it easier to tell, like, okay, was this an improvement or did it get worse? And how did it get worse? So like, I think it's turning a little bit too fast now. So I have so many knobs to turn here. Set that to be 4. It is kind of... What if we set this up really high to like 12? That's almost double what it used to be before. It still has the... Like it turns really quickly in the beginning and then sort of exaggerates. Put that back to 5. And what if we set this to like almost nothing? I think maybe I need to tweak the actual steering power instead. Take a screenshot of these values. So if I want to go back and use them again, I can, because this is not really working out the way I wanted it to. Assuming I actually implemented it the way I should have, but it looks like I did. So we'll not do that, and we'll just keep this guy. Add force, steer input, body mass times the steering power times the speed ratio. Yeah, we'll try that. So steering still works. All right, set steer power to something low, because there are two things. There's the steering when you are not moving forward, which is kind of nice right now, and then there's the steering when you are like going forward. I guess I also made this dependent on the actual maximum velocity, but you reach the maximum velocity pretty quickly, so that's not a giant problem. It's a little bit too turny. This is tricky. Steer power, accelerating. Let's make it 2. See what that feels like. Patrol 220 is saying that it feels like it's more realistic, that it's turning faster when it's not fully outspreaded. I'm not entirely sure I understand what you mean, but I guess having it be like when you're going straight and fast. Having a slight delay on the turning is not a huge deal, but like the handling is not, it doesn't really feel right. I think I'm gonna make the steering power a little bit lower, and then I'm gonna compensate by raising this up more. It's hard to, because it's all, like all the numbers are dependent on each other. So if I change that one, I need to change the other one, because it's twice the other value. Okay, come here, boat. Okay, you are mine. It's getting there. It's still a little bit pinchy when it's turning. Like it turns slowly and then, which is not ideal, but this is quite a good improvement. So that's, did I do the thing just now? Slightly annoying thing about Unity is that there's no way to like save these values at runtime that I'm aware of. So when you stop everything, it goes away, and then you have to like remember what you set them to. 6, stereo power should be 1, stereo power is 2, that guy stays, that guy stays, stay, okay. Try maybe moving that in a little bit now. What if we move that out? Because I'd like for it to be so that you can drive past a boat and then just turn maximum and then kind of catch it that way, which is not the case right now. You turn too fast and then you just in like a cinnamon bun shape, and I think it might also be that you are just going faster than you can turn. You know what it might be too? I think it's just inertia. Like once you're going in kind of a spin, it's just like adding to that spin already. I like the red little line. It's like a tongue. I can't even remember what I changed. So let's just try this again. It's nearly there. Get this guy. Yeah. It's also hard to tell if it's improving or I'm just getting better at compensating. Because I think this is what the game will be about. It's going to be about ensnaring these boats, because that feels fun. if you just slow down ever so slightly before you arrive at the boat, it will make your life of ensnaring them so much easier. But that's me learning for sure. That is not the game improving, or the physics being more reliable. So my thinking right now is that you grab the boats, you spin them a bunch, and little sailors go flying out of them, and then you eat the sailors, and you repeat. That's the idea right now. Whee! Okay, I think this is like it's good enough right now. We'll come back to it some more later. 0.1, 5, 6, 1, 2. Yeah, I didn't change anything there. That's good. Staged. Tweaking, turning, radius bits. Push this to GitHub. Because I haven't done that in a while. And I think I am going to take a lunch break. And I'll be back in like an hour or maybe 2 hours. And we'll do some more programming. Goodbye for now. We'll see you guys later.